All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining. My name is Paul Gentili. I am one of the senior sales managers over here at GlueUp. I have grown up pretty much in the DC area. That's where we're based, right outside Northern Virginia. I have a wife, two small kids, and I've been here at GlueUp for about a year and a half now. So that's kind of my background here, and I'm very excited to now show all of you all the things that Google can do when it comes to helping streamline more revenue options, especially if you're using an all-in-one platform. Some of the takeaways and some of the things that I'll be showing in the beginning can be things that can be used in other systems and things like that, but specifically also in GlueUp. So without further ado, let me start sharing my screen. I'm going to share screen number 3. Here we go. All right. Okay, so here are some ways that a lot of our partners are currently in the chamber world specifically are using Whoopin, whatever software they're using to push things. Oh, oops, sorry, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Stop share. Sorry about that. Slideshow. Not presenter view from beginning. Why is it doing it here? Okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm just going to share my other screen now. Screen 2. Okay, here we go. Okay, so one of the things that you can do with GlueUp is you are able to highlight sponsors and campaigns. And of course, this is something that you can do in other things like MailChimp or Constant Contact. We do have the ability for you to do multiple layout options. So if you want to have a bunch of like bigger sponsors in one area and smaller under that, you can do images, you can do text. There's lots of hyperlinks that you can put into for any image. So, if this one sponsor, if HEB, for instance, I have an HEB bobblehead here. If HEB, for instance, was one of our sponsors and you can have a big logo where it clicks and takes them to wherever HEB wants it to go. What's nice is by using campaign tools, especially the ones in GlueUp, you can look at click tracking and return metrics and then give that information to the sponsors. Be like, hey, like these links were clicked 18 times from this one campaign. It's good information for them to have. And you could even see like who clicked what link and stuff like that. You can also export these into Excel if you wanted to. We do have the ability in GlueUp, which I'll show later, to do what's called smart lists. This is like active dynamic lists. So if you want to get very targeted in the emails you're sending and then have targeted sponsors that are out of that group. So for instance, maybe you have a bunch of members that like football and the Buccaneers end up being like one of your sponsors, then you just send a very targeted email with like great with discounted tickets to Buccaneer games or something like that. That's something you could do. So here's an example of what some of the campaigns could look like with us. So you can see we got the Amazon Web Services, and we have Access and Diversified Management Services as 3 sponsors, and all of those could be clickable links. And then this is what the campaign tracking would look like. So you can see what was clicked here, what was clicked, how many people clicked it, how many people opened the email. So all the information would be there. Now, when it comes to event pages, if you're using another platform like Eventbrite or something like that, you could totally do things. But on GlueUp specifically, it's also very easy to put in sponsors and kind of all the same things that we saw when we talked about on the campaign side. You could totally make it so all the sponsor links are clickable links, and it's really easy to add exhibitors or sponsors in for one event. Here's an example of what it's like to update. So you can see you updating the link that shows up here in the description. And then for tracking purposes, like the sponsorship value, that's more for you to know on the CRM side how much money you made from this one sponsor. And then on the event page, this is how it could show up. So you can click and see, oh, great, Amazon is one of our sponsors, and you click and it goes to whatever URL the sponsor wants it to go. And then you can even have like big pages in the like a little micro page in the event landing page that also just goes to one particular sponsor, just in case if that one sponsor was like a superstar sponsor or something like that. You could also do discount codes also. So if one of your sponsors wanted to have their own discount codes and you wanted to see how often that discount code was used, that's something you can do with us. And it's something in general that's a good best practice. When you're making events with GlueUp, you're also able to do add-on tickets, and these add-on tickets could also be tied specifically to one sponsor, or you could. So, for instance, here we see Safeco Dental Supplies is who was the sponsor for the welcome reception. GlueUp is able to make badges, so if there's any event where you want badges to be made, you can put the sponsor on the badge and then they're good and everyone's badge, like for instance I have a badge here from a conference that I went to. If the sponsor was here or whatever, you charge them for whatever and everyone's walking around with that sponsor's badge. You can have a separate membership type be a sponsor, which is nice, is because it'd have its own workflow. You can have them be auto renewed or not, choose different payment plan options and things like that. And then you could also have them as a part of different email cadence and just things that make things easy. And then when that happens in the member directory, we have a member directory that's very easy to use for your members. They could also then see the featured companies, and when they click on, for instance, Amazon, they could see all the people that are tied to Amazon, and if there's any discounts as well that people get in the member portal, that could show up here. We do have the ability to do a multiple pipeline thing where if you want to have a funnel to see how you're doing for sponsorships or for new members or anything like that, you can see what this looks like. This is me clicking and dragging things along the different stages and stuff like that, just in case we're operating, kind of like a sales organization, like we do here at GlueUp. And then we do have an app as well for your members. And in the app, all the same things they could see. They could see all the sponsors for one particular event. They could see the member portal where they can see who the featured companies are, and then they can click on somebody and see more about that company, go to their website, see what discount they get, things like that. So that's all the stuff that those are some very quick ways that we can really help push sponsorships and drive other revenue options. So now let me actually share my screen on some of the other stuff that we do over here at GlueUp. All right, present, play. Here we go. And by the way, if anyone has any questions, feel free to you can just type them in here. I'll answer them the second I see them. So I'm always happy to, take a quick pause, answer any question that anyone might have. All right, here we go, sharing. All right, so in general, some of the other things that we do. So, all in one, all in one platform, an all-in-one chamber management platform. So we do help with the event management, as I said, the membership management, whether that's company members or even if you have like retirees that are a member. We do the email marketing. We have a CRM, and that's one thing that's a little bit different between us and a lot of our competitors. We have a client relationship manager where you can like do things like log notes, log tasks, see how much money they paid, all in a simple view, and kind of do a lot of other things just to stay very organized. We have a finance module as well. You can do tasks. We have the apps, as I kind of mentioned before too. We've been around for 12 years. In the 12 years that we've been around, we are now currently working with more than 1,500 membership-based organizations, a lot of which are chambers of commerce. When it comes to the membership management side, this is some of the stuff that we're able to do. So you could totally set up different workflows for all your different memberships. So for instance, once we get an application, you can make it that that you approve it, or maybe you just let things automatically go to the payment. Then after they pay, the membership begins. Once they become members, then they can go into certain email campaigns with that are targeted or not targeted. They can get access to the member portal and they can get discounts for event tickets and stuff like that. When their year's coming up, if you do yearly memberships, you can set automatic expirations alerts. And you can send as many of them as you want. For instance, if you wanted someone to get an email 90 days before they expire, and then another one 60 days, and then another one 30 days, you can set that up, and then the system will automatically always do those expiration reminders. So, people will know that they're coming up for renewal. And the system would automatically create the invoice as well with a clickable link that they can pay. Then once they renew, they're right back through the cycle of again, getting the campaigns and signing up for the events and stuff like that. We do have a quick and easy to see membership insight section. So if you have multiple tiers at your chamber, you can be like, oh, there's 4 different tiers here. You could see how many active members you have on any of the tiers. Or you could just see in general, like total, for our chamber in total, we have 808 corporate members, and we had 98 that were new this year and 16 that churned in the last 30 days, right? So it's easy to find things like that on our dashboard. So if you have a board meeting, upcoming soon, you have all that information right there at your disposal. On the event side, the same thing. You can have dashboards where you can be like, all right, we have like 10 events coming up, and of the 10 events, how much payments have we gotten from all of them? For one particular event, how many people have checked in versus of the 88 people that signed up? Quick, easy things to see all the information too. On the event side, we do make event registration and attendance tracking super easy. So I can check people in with a cell phone app that we would have for you all as admins. And you can make badges with us, as I mentioned earlier. So you can see this is like someone's badge. But registering for an event and checking in people for an event is very, very easy with GlueUp. We do have an email sending tool, kind of as I mentioned before. People say it kind of feels like Constant Contact a little bit in the way that like it's super user friendly to just click and drag a text section or click and drag an image. We do have AI also baked in here. So if you want help writing an email in a professional tone or a funny tone, and you're like, hey, help me write me a summary about this event that I'm doing, then it can help you at the very beginning of that. And then of course, you edit it afterward. And then another thing is you want to see all the analytics, as I kind of showed earlier. GlueUp can help make websites, just in case if your website's either tied to another provider or you're just looking for a website refresh, then we can design websites. We use Drupal as the code for our websites. We would set it up. It's easy to modify afterward. They're SEO optimized. There's multiple different ad placement sections, so you can use it as a revenue generator or another way to add more value to your sponsorships. You can do job boards with us, community events, things like that on the websites. We have the member portal, which I'll show actually in there. And then I mentioned earlier, there's an app for admins. There's also an app for your members. And the member app is a 2-in-1 app. It is the app for just the membership throughout the whole year where they can find other people, message them. But it's also the app that's tied to a specific event. If there's an event that you want your members to be able to see who else is going to this event, and even they can do a post in that event, like that's something else that our platform is able to do. So without further ado, let me actually get in here. Let me actually get into the platform itself now. So we can see here in the left-hand rail, this is all of the different modules that we have. In the settings section here, this is where you would set up the account on GlueUp. So for instance, real quick, I'm going to show what it's like setting on a field. Maybe there's like lots of columns we have in Excel or certain fields you have in your current chamber management platform. Creating any sort of field is very easy to do. I just click here. I can see the drop down, and on this drop down, I can create whatever field I want. I can do a short text. I can do a number, date, a link. You can do like single choice or multiple choice options, or you can do file uploads. So for instance, if we wanted to have people upload their business logo when they're applying, we just do this, type in logo, make it mandatory, and that way, we already have their logo collected there. So it's in our database, and then it's going to be easier to put it up on the directory, right? So that's what it's like to create a field. And then when you want to control the fields that populate in any sort of application form, oops, also pretty easy to do. Sorry, I clicked in the wrong section. Looks like my computer needs a coffee right now. There we go. All right, so editing application form, just so you see how easy this is too. So the only thing that's required when it comes to a company is just the company name. Outside of that, I click a box on the left, that's how we get added. Or if I click this little trash can, that's how I remove a field. So easy at any point to customize any of these application forms, and you can choose what's mandatory and what's not on any field that we're collecting on the application form. Okay, cool. Now let me get in here and hop into the CRM. So actually starting here in the left-hand rail, there's a section here that says My Emails. We have a Microsoft Outlook integration. And if you had that here, then you could see all the emails that were sent to you. The My Tasks section, this is going to be all tasks that are signed in my name. So if somebody else wanted to assign a task for me, I can see the tasks are assigned to me, and then I can, of course, click when it's complete. Now going down the contact section, this is where we get into the CRM. So the contact section is first. This section is what is used for folks to look at both members, but also prospects. A lot of chambers, of course, they have a list of all these prospects that they want to keep engaging with and stuff like that. So let's run a report, and actually let's find a report of a bunch of prospects we have and stuff like that. So I'm going to do a report of who's not a member, but who is subscribed. And maybe we'll do the advanced filter of their favorite Star Wars movie is Empire Strikes Back. So, that was a custom field that we made. And so now we have this very targeted list of this. There are only 4 people in this one. Let's just pretend this list was like 40 people, right? We have things called smart lists, active dynamic lists. They will always update the roster in real time. So I run an event and more people, some people sign up and register that are not members, and somehow we found out they were Empire Strikes Back fans, then this list will grow. Or if I send out an email, and put like, Star Wars logos on it and say, why they should join our chamber, and Jasmine gets her company to join, then she will be removed from this list. So when you're sending emails from the system and you want to do really targeted campaigns, the smart list is how you would do that. Now, when we're looking at the other stuff that you could see, let's look at someone's actual profile. So our CRM has a couple of different layers to what you're able to do. So we do have contact profiles. Oops, actually, let me just put poll. So we could see here all the people that are named Paul. So this is just an example of how this could be queried and stuff like that. These orange circles that you see here, that's how you know someone's a member or not. And so when I click on anyone's profile, this is now where I could see more information about this one individual. So it says right here, someone changed my first name to a bunch of numbers. So actually, let me show you how to very quickly change that. Here we go. Put in my name here. And we'll say my company's actually Glue Up, not the Avengers, although that would be cool. And actually, I like Empire Strikes Back. All right, so that's what it's like very quickly to change someone's information when they're in there. Now, over up here in the top, you can see we have an add note section. So let's say I had a phone call with Paul, for instance, then I could log, the phone call or the email or a meeting. It's really important to log that information so you don't forget, what you talked about. And then under here in the activity section, this is where I can now search by all those notes or all those tasks that are open. I could also search by like what are the most recent events they attended, things like that. So I click the filter button and I can see, yeah, for instance, notes. Let's look at all the notes that we have logged in the last year for Paul in this case. I can also see here, this is another cool place, the engagement metrics section. This is going to be the cheat sheet of how engaged this member has been in general for the last whatever time period you want. And we count first events. So like, for instance, if I want to see in the last 365 days, Paul registered for 11 events, but he only checked in the 3 of them. It's important to know information like that. I could see he's part of 4 committees and see which ones I wanted to if I click there. I could see in the last year we sent Paul 11 emails, 11 campaigns, and he opened 5 of them. So that's a pretty good open rate. And the last one he opened was 91 days ago. And how much in payments has he given to the organization as well, to our chamber? And what were the last events that he registered for, and if he checked in for it or not. So, very quick snapshot, especially if he's the primary member, the decision maker for one of the companies that are our members, it's good to know how engaged he's been. But we also have a company level too that people could see. And when I click on the company level here, I can see kind of all the same information. But what's nice is it's going to do this on the company level, and it's actually going to roll up a lot of the information. So I'm clicking on the engagement metrics section, and you can see right here, this company information, all the information also that they filled out about the company when they were doing their application form. So now as I click in the engagement section, I can see that there's 38 employees that are tied to this company. And if I want to see how engaged every single employee's been, so like there's like Carissa here did 2 events, John's done 4, Paul's done 12. Let's see, Adib's done 1. All the information is going to be right here. So I can see very quickly, and it's from a snapshot, how engaged the whole entire company's been the last year. Additionally, for your partners, if I wanted to see, who is like how much in money they have done between memberships, sponsorships, or events, that can be shown here. And then when were the last time they were a sponsor? So this one particular member was a sponsor a week ago for an annual conference, and they paid $6,000. And same thing with exhibitors. I could see the last time someone was an exhibitor. Now, underneath, and you can also log notes and log tasks also that are tied to the company level if you wanted to. Yeah, you want to assign someone to do the quarterly check-in with them, right? And in the last section, we have this member section here too, and this is where you could see, it's kind of like the contact section, but it's all members. So all these filters are all membership related. So who is expiring next month? And they're under their first year with us, easy to run information like that too. So that's kind of everything on the CRM side. Now I'm going to hop into the events module. So any event that you would create using the GlueUp platform, we can help make a event microsite for it. So think of like an event landing page. It's easy to customize these event websites. There are multiple different templates that you can do too. So you can have a very basic looking one made for, like happy hour events or something like that. But if you had a bigger conference or a gala or something like that, you want to have a more built out page. So this should kind of shows like what one of the built out pages would look like. Um, so I could see here, like for instance, we can do an agenda by day. We can do like a main event page. We can do an exhibitor section, a things to do, a main sponsor area. You can, as I kind of beginning, highlight certain sponsors, and when I click on that sponsor, it'll take me to wherever the prospect wants me to go. When I click on Galveston Island, I could see theirs. You can, when it comes to tickets, you can do member rates, non-member rates, promo codes, early birds. This pretty much any ticket type you want. Oh, you can do group tickets too. You can highlight, if there's any speakers or any sort of people that you want to highlight, that could show up here too. We integrate with Open Map just to see where, the event is, so people can see that on the page. And then as I kind of mentioned, you can also do a community that's tied to the event where I can see after I register, I can see who else is going and then network with them, message them, stuff like that. Makes it nice and engaging. And when it comes to setting up the event, pretty easy to do. There's just 5 quick steps. Well, for setup, actually, there's only 3 steps. So step 1 is set up, like what's the name of the event, the dates, and how many tickets do we want to sell? Do we want to allow people to cancel their ticket if it was a free event, or do we want to allow people to transfer tickets? Things like that. How many reminders do we want to do? You could do multiple registration forms that are maybe tied to different ticket types if you wanted to. And you could have different ticket options, so you can have some hidden ticket types, so like VIPs, or you could do early birds, things like that. Uh, I mentioned 2 promo codes, you can tie that to a sponsor so you can see how many tickets a certain sponsor sold, just in case they get a cut or something like that. Step 2 is when we're going to publish, like make the micro website. So, there's a summary area, a speakers, this pulls in from the CRM. The agenda, very click and drag, so that's pretty easy to do too. We can highlight the venue, all the sponsors. And then after that, we get to the layout and design part. And this is where we would choose the different templates that we want. We could change the color. So you can see like in the top right there, like I'm changing the color of how it looks on the microsite. And you can control where things show. So like I had the agenda at the top, if I want to click and move that down or something like that. Now it's going to be lower in the event page when I click on it. I'm going to skip over promote real quick because I'm going to show the campaigns in general next. But after people register for the event, I can run reports to see, how many people that signed up are not members, or if I want to see who bought what ticket type, who signed up for what breakout session, who hasn't paid us yet, things like that. Like I can run quick and easy reports, and I can export them at any point too if I wanted to. You can design your badges with us. So like I mentioned earlier, putting in the logo of one of the sponsors, and you also control the fields that would populate. So if you did have a question like what's your favorite Star Wars movie, and you wanted that to live on everyone's badges, very easy to do. And then checking people in for the event. So I talked about the app earlier. That's one way you can check people in for an event. You could do it by scanning a QR code, or you could even type in their name. There is an iPad as well that you could set up if you have iPads or tablets and you want people to just be able to check themselves in that way. And then if you bring your laptop to the event too, when people show in, you can just type in their email address or type in their name, and that's another quick and easy way to check people in. While the event's going on and during the event, invoices will be created for member tickets, so you can see all the open invoices for maybe sponsors that haven't paid yet, and you could also see all the payments for the event too, and run reports of who paid what and when did they pay. Now, when it comes to campaigns, so now I'm going to circle back now to show what our email tool is like. So I'm going to create a brand new email campaign that is tied to this event. So I'm going to click Add Campaign. We're going to call it September 18th Invitation. And here we go. We're doing a brand new email campaign. Step one for any of our emails is who's going to get it, right? So we can send it to all members, all contacts. We can send it to the event registrants that we're doing an invitation, so we can send it to people that didn't get invitations yet or didn't respond to them if we wanted to. We can also exclude people. So like maybe we send it to all contacts, but we exclude VIP members because we're gonna give them a handwritten note or something like that. Now, since I did this inside the event, all of the work I did in building the event automatically shows up here. So it's going to save me time in drafting my email for this one event invitation. When it comes to customizing the email on top of that, click and drag. So I can click and drag an image. I can click and drag a text box, an event tracker, so very, very easy to customize these emails. And then you can preview it in a browser. You can send yourself an email preview, or you can send the email now or schedule it for any point in the future. Now, the other way that you would send email campaigns would be from the campaign section, where in this case, if you wanted to like send like a newsletter or something like that, that's what this section would do. And over here now you can see we have templates. And if I choose like our marketing template, for instance, then all the stuff from that template automatically populates, and then adding to the email on top of that, same thing, click and drag, and then send it now in future, see the email preview, all the things. And when it comes to looking at how an email performed, I click on one, I could see open, not opened, browse by who opened, all the things right there. So that's everything on the campaigns front. Now, when it comes to the membership workflow, I mentioned like how you could approve people and stuff like that. You can also do this on the app, by the way, that we have for you all as admins. But in this case, I could see like an application, for instance, and I click on it. And I could see all the information, that they filled out when they did their application, and I click approve, and that's how we approve them. And in this case, for this workflow that I set up in the sandbox, after I click approve here, then John would get the email automatically with the invoice to pay. And in this section too, I could see like how many people are pending for renewal and what stage they're all in for their renewal workflow. All right, and then the admin side, lastly, we also have a finance section. And here we create invoices and payments. Well, we show receipts, I should say. And you could filter these reports too. So for instance, I want to look at all the people that are maybe overdue for their renewal, we'll say, right? Very quick and easy to run reports like that. I could see 7 people populated here. I could actually click all 7, resend the invoice all at once, or download all 7 at once if I wanted to. You can edit invoices just in case if there was a mistake, resend them, download them, or if they paid you in cash, you can click add payment and then put that there. And then the same thing with the payment side. We can, look to see all the people that paid us last month because we want to, send this to our accountant or something like that. So we got all here, and we can, export and choose the information that we want to export with the payments. All right, that is how everything looks on the admin. There's of course a couple other things, but this only goes for like 10 more minutes, so I want to make sure I make sure I kind of stop on the admin side. I'll pause real quick to see if anyone has any questions so far. All right, let me go ahead and get back in here. Now I'm going to show the member portal. So this is the member portal. When one of your chamber members would log in, this is potentially what they could see. You could see we kind of made ours to look almost like social media, kind of like Facebook or LinkedIn. And the whole idea about that is once people get in here, they'll know exactly what they do. They can like, comment, or share any posts, or I can add in my own image, if I want to upload something. There is a one-to-one messaging service. So if I did want to message another member that I saw, I could do so, or I could even like try to schedule a meeting with them. You can do breakout groups with us too. So if you want to have different communities, like have all CEOs in a group, or have all people in the hospitality industry, in their own group, just in case if you want to put more like-minded people together. So, or like for instance, the ambassador program or the young professionals, like if there's any way that you want to put people in different groups, you can make those. And then from here, all these posts are tied to that group. I could see the people that are in this breakout group, and you can host files as well that people would be able to see that are part of that breakout group. With us, you could also have a member directory. And with the member directory, I could see the companies that are in it as well as individuals. And for the companies, when I click more information, you can choose the fields that will populate here. So if you did want to let them do like a discount or something like that, you can do that. And I can see the members that are part of this too. When I click on events, I could see all the events that I'm registered for, as well as all upcoming events too. So this is a nice way for people to be able to, sign up for events. I just click here and it'll take me straight to the checkout part. The membership section would show, like if they're under their renewal period now, it's one place that they can actually click and pay now to finalize their renewal. If you do different newsletters, this is where they could subscribe or unsubscribe to one. Same thing with committees. People can actually subscribe or unsubscribe to committees if they wanted to. And then this wallet section is where they can see all of their receipts, download them, just in case they needed to, send them anywhere. And this is where they can add their credit card information or modify it, just in case if they lost their card or something. That's kind of everything on the member portal. Now let me end on a couple of different websites that we've made. So here's an example of one of our current clients. We can see that they have a rotating slideshow that's here when somebody registers. They did put their upcoming events right here, like big. They also have a featured news section. And when I click on one of these event pages, it takes me straight to, the sign up page. This is examples of how they put in the sponsors and stuff like that too. There's no, oh, the clickable links are down here. And they do have a community for their event. Up here too, you can tell us what tabs that you would want up here. So for instance, they have the directory section, they have a member deals section. Those are things too that you could do. And they actually featured one of their members. When I click more info, I could see who the realtor is and click here. Now here's another example of a site that you can do a video on the homepage too. So this is the Russellville Area Chamber of Commerce. Nice website with a nice video. They can see they have different colors. I could see that they actually have the past events too. So just in case people are curious of all previous events, that's another option that you can do. You could see that they put a banner ad here. For them, it's just for the chamber, but you could put any banner ad there. So if you did have a sponsor and you want to add it as an extra value for your sponsors to, in essence, give them their banner ad or do like a Google AdWord to, make revenue off of it, that's something else you can do there. Here's another example of a website that we made. What I like about this one is they have the rotating corporate sponsors, which is another thing you do. So as I click here, you can see this will always rotate. So yeah, so those are cool website examples that we have. And the way it works in essence, we would, build the site with your guidance. You would check in with us just to make sure you like what you see so far. And then after we give you the tools on how to edit the site, and customize certain pages and stuff like that. But yeah, and that's pretty much everything. As my coworker always says, that's the whole kit and caboodle. But yeah, but happy to stick around to see if anyone has any questions. And with the questions, I think you would just type them in here, and then I would be able to see them. This was recorded. I just got a question for someone that joined late. Was this recorded so they can go back and watch it? Yes. I believe there's an email that will go out with the recording. And if not, I could send you the recording. I'll email it to you afterward. Any other questions that y'all have? Oh, perfect. Thank you for the email. I will, that makes it easy to send it afterward. All right, I'll hang out for like one more minute just to see if there's any other questions that come in. Well, thank you all very, very much for spending some time with me this afternoon or morning, depending where you are. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of your week.